Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Overpass 2. In this second video on this game, I'm going to be checking out the open world playground section of the game that is hidden away in the academy. Now, in this section, we can essentially use a massive open playground to do everything from testing out all the UTVs or testing out the rock crawlers or, hitting it up with an ATV in many different forms, whether that's climbing rocks, hitting up dirt trails, or, basically climbing over obstacles. It's a pretty cool section of the game, and I honestly don't think it really gets enough credit. I've had a ton of fun in this part of the game, and that's why I'm here today to basically show everything off, as well as take a look at all of the vehicles you can expect to see within Overpass 2. So I'm also going to take you through each and every single vehicle that is within this game. So each time we go to a different class, I'm going to take you through the vehicles. For the UTVs, we have the likes of Arctic Cat, Polaris, Yamaha in here, Kawasaki are also in here. There's a ton of UTV models. It's definitely the most fleshed out of the classes. Again, in terms of the different variety of vehicles, you'll have things that are kind of, change up depending on that specific one. So, in terms of a manufacturer, you may have some that are putting out maybe in the 100 horsepower range, and then you'll kind of get ones that are putting out into the sort of, 200 horsepower plus range with different kind of transmissions. So you'll have like some that are maybe rear wheel drive, some that might be all wheel drive, diff, everything. There is a ton of depth to each individual vehicle, and they're really well modeled. That is definitely, again, something that's kind of surprised me with this game, is just how well modeled each and every single model actually is, that they all feel different. There is definitely, a vibe with some of them that they might feel a little bit samey, but then you'll sort of look into the stats and realize, oh, okay, well, there's a lot more going on there than, on the surface. Now, in terms of the looks, Yamahas are definitely my favorite. Absolutely love the aggressive look of these, and definitely the big flared arches at the back just look absolutely incredible. So I've now got the job of actually going ahead and, well, picking one to go ahead and take into the sort of play area. I'll also take you through, the different times of days. So, for each of these runs, I'll, choose a different kind of, time of day, different weather, just to show off, the depth of that system, as well as there's, plenty of different ways to run these. So we're going to head over to this one here. Now we have a bunch of options, obviously morning, evening, night, overcast, rain, fog. And now in terms of this one, I'm going to keep this in the morning because I think this visually looks absolutely awesome. As you can see, we've got the sunrise in the background there. We've got it set to clear weather. Well, we're going to go ahead and have a bit of a, explore. So we're going to spawn in this sort of parking area here. We're going to head down into sort of the dirt trails here. We're going to take a bit of a left and sort of go and try and find where we can, really get the most out of these, UTVs here. So definitely looking for some, big rocks to climb, some ramps to ramp, and we're going to have a ton of fun doing it. So again, I've spent hours in this area so far in terms of the game, and I really cannot complain. It's much more detailed and very, very good actually in terms of just learning overall how you're going to be tackling this game. So I went on a bit of an exploration up the dirt trails, and eventually I came across this nice little area here where it's just kind of, making use of the vehicle itself. Again, it's all about trying to find these areas. They're kind of scattered about. You've got some that are sort of definitely tailored towards rock climbing, some that feel like they're tailored towards UTVs and, ATVs. And then up here, as you can see, this is one of the more rock climbing areas that we saw in the tutorial yesterday. So I'm going to do a bit of climbing here, and we're going to try and get ourselves up these rock areas in the UTVs just to see how well they handle it. Again, it also helps for my career mode when I want to do a bit of research and development. Do I want this UTV for my team and such? So again, nice big rocky area. We ran this in the sort of rock climber and such yesterday. Definitely not really too in favor of this UTV. It's definitely doable, but it's going to be much more difficult than obviously those massive, high suspensioned rock crawlers that we do have within the game. So we're going to try, get away through here. We're over the rocks there, and we're going to hit more of the dirt sections up. Definitely really good feeling with the four-wheel drive system. On these sort of dirt sections. We're going to do a few ramps here as we kind of finish off exploring. So again, just getting a bit of air in this UTV. Really, really liking the looks. I love how this sort of, dirt builds up over time on the fact that if you do take damage, especially if you do have it set on, which we haven't here, you are going to absolutely total it. So, no damage turned on, so you're not going to see too much of that. but definitely love the way these models actually build up dirt and, you know, stay nice and dirty for the entire time. Next up, we have the rock crawlers. These are absolutely awesome. Bit more of a shallow list. There's not really too much to see. You've got the likes of, you know, the Venom, the Blue, Rum Runner, which is going to be the red one, and Smoked Out. So there's around about 4 different models. Again, these are a bit more of a shallow class, all doing different things, up to 1,000 brake horsepower, as you can see here with the Smoked Out one, which is just absolutely ridiculous. 1,000 brake horsepower, vertical climbing, absolute monster. So in terms of the settings for this one, we're going to set this one to evening. Now, again, we're going to keep it clear, just kind of testing out the different times of day at this point. We'll take a quick look around the vehicle before we head off and try and find some rocks to climb. So straight out the parking lot, and then we're going to move straight onto the dirt and find a nice little area to make the most of this rock climber. And we're going to end up back here. Again, more on the sort of rock climbing section. This time it's really meant for this vehicle, so we're not trying to drag a UTV through an area where it really shouldn't be. And in terms of this time of day, absolutely awesome. Really do like the graphics in this. Like I said, I'm running this on PC, running it in Ultra, so this is the best the game will, you know, ever look. And yeah, it definitely ran really well in terms of the visuals and such. They really do hold up. I haven't noticed any visual glitches and stuff, but just in terms of the detail in this area, I think that's probably why I've spent so much time in it, just because it just visually looks so pleasing. It's actually quite relaxing to be kind of testing these vehicles in such a visually stunning area. So instead of taking the right way we headed off in the UTV, we're going to continue on down this section here. Again, it's just going to kind of round us up a different way, allow us to, you know, explore the suspension and make use of the different drivetrains on this vehicle. Get a bit of ramp in there. Absolutely love these things. You do have to be careful though in terms of the rock climbers, because if you overdo it, trust me, you're going to be in trouble. We're going to head over to the obstacle course now. This is a great little section. Again, more towards ATVs really than the sort of rock crawlers that you see in here. But, you know, it was definitely an experience taking something, you know, so big around this really tight section. Now, you're going to see here, I'm going to kind of start clowning around soon and see if I can really do a bit of a vertical climb with this thing. And it's not going to be, you know, ending too great here. So we've got a little bit of a course really to tackle to get through to that section. So we're going to, you know, round there, try and avoid the tires and, you know, absolutely clatter ourselves on them until we get to this vertical wall. And I just had the urge to just try and climb it. And yeah, well, it didn't go too well. As you can see here, we're trying to get up it. We got a little bit stuck. We're going to try the different drivetrains and it just didn't work too well. We kind of just got stuck there. So I went off exploring once again and found this great little section. Again, we sort of saw it in the tutorial for the rock crawlers, and we're going to do a bit more climbing here in a much kind of better model. You know, a lot more power in this one than we saw in the tutorial. That was kind of, you know, the base one, whereas this one is just an absolute machine, and it does climb actually really well. It's a nice little sort of cliff edge section where if it's going to go wrong, then it's going to go majorly wrong. It's not just a case of, you know, oh dear, we're stuck. It's going to be a case of, oh, now we're ending up barreling down a cliff. I really do like that about this area. So again, literally, it's just kind of just climbing over there. It's, you know, doing it with absolute ease. Now, in terms of the rock crawlers themselves, they do actually have probably the best sound design out of all of the vehicles. You can really sort of feel this sort of rumble to them as you're trying to drag these things up through these tight, rocky sections. It's absolutely incredible. And as you can see here, they're just an absolute blast to drive. It's definitely one of the most fun vehicles I think I've ever tested in a racing game. And they're on full show here in terms of just how good they can be. Definitely the highlight of the game for me, no doubt. Like, I don't think my opinion's going to change on that. I absolutely love the UTVs because, you know, they're great on all terrains, and, you know, the kind of races that they do are fantastic. But just in terms of the career mode and, you know, the more, I guess, treacherous side of the game, the rock crawlers are just absolutely fantastic. As you can see here, we're just tackling all sorts and everything with absolute ease, and they're definitely an acquired taste in terms of getting used to them. But I definitely overall feel like these are probably the best vehicles of the bunch as well. You know, when it comes to just climbing up everything or putting your foot down and kicking the rear end out, there's plenty to do. Now, we've got this really tough section here. And you know, when I first started testing the game, testing graphics settings and stuff, I managed to actually get the rock crawlers stuck there. So to see this one just breeze over was definitely quite refreshing. So that's a look at the rock crawlers anyway. We're going to move into the ATVs next, take them a nice little test around this open playground area. Now, mainly for these ones, I want to test out the sort of obstacle course. They're definitely more suited to these. Now, again, we've got a bunch of manufacturers, a very well fleshed out class once again. So we've got the likes of Arctic Cat, Kawasaki, Polaris as well. Good thing about the ATVs that you're seeing here is the fact that these are the ones that seem to show off more, where you may only have some that are rear wheel drive or some that are only sort of rear wheel and four wheel drive, and they've all got their place within the game of just being completely different from one another. And again, with the model detail, they're absolutely fantastic. I just really cannot fault the devs for the way they've modeled these vehicles. They look absolutely fantastic. As you see here with the Yamaha, these are just rear wheel drive. Now, they're definitely the more kind of typical looking ATV vehicles, and they are probably the most difficult to actually get a handle on. I did do a bit of a test in my career mode where I had to go and tackle quite a rocky section with them, and it was really a steep learning curve. And again, it's just kind of credit to the fact that all of these vehicles are completely different. So we're going to try a bit of a different stage here. We're going to go for night, and I'm going to put on the rain, mainly heavy rain, so you can kind of see what that looks like in the game. Definitely love the different styles of weather. So we're at night here, we've got the lights on, and we're going to go exploring on the quad bike. Like I said, I'm mainly looking for like the obstacle course. I want to kind of tackle that on this quad bike here, on this ATV. Absolutely love the design of this, as you can see. So we eventually did get there, and we got into quite a rocky section down here. Pretty much a breeze for the ATVs. We start climbing all around, and then we're going to get into some more of the more difficult climbs as we sort of tackle this section. But this is a great section in terms of sort of getting the ATVs through and such, and really kind of learning them. They're definitely a difficult vehicle in terms of the game. I'd say they're probably the toughest class, mainly because your rider's all exposed. So where you might crash a UTV or you might roll over one of your sort of rock crawlers, your rider's not going to come flying off, whereas on the ATV they do, and you will get a penalty for it as well. So definitely recommend coming to this little area here, and just kind of get used to what the kind of limit is for each ATV. Definitely finding where your rider's going to fall off, if you're going to be pushing too hard, how fast and how easy it is to tackle certain sections on these ATVs, just to ensure that once you're in your career mode, you're not racking up a bunch of difficult penalties. This area here with all the sort of rocks and logs is just absolutely awesome to climb over. Through the tunnel we go, and then we're going to get into more of the sort of rocky sections as we go through. So again, we're going to go through this section here, a bit more open here. Now, we could use rear wheel drive, to be quite honest, but I'm mainly just scouting out and using the off-road capabilities of the ATV here. Again, if I wanted more of a rear wheel drive one, I'd have gone for obviously one of the Yamahas, but they're definitely in a quiet taste in terms of the overall roster of bikes we've got here. So we're going to take a left here, go into this section, and we're going to continue on through sort of the tyre and the mud and such before getting back to the more rocky sections. It kind of takes you in a big loop. So again, this is one of the sections that we saw within the tutorial of the game. So in terms of where we're going to go now, we're going to head to the right. We're going to go through this here. It's a bit of a tyre maze. Really do enjoy these sections. Definitely where you can kind of, feel the quad bike doing what the, ATV should do, which is definitely tackle some more of the sort of tighter and treacherous areas. And yeah, it's definitely on show here. So there we go. We've got this big logged area here. We're going to try and get that four-wheel drive system working. Oh, we go. We do manage to get it up and over. So absolutely loving just exploring this area. So there we go. We set out on what we wanted to do with the ATV. Just do a bit of obstacle course climbing. Take a look at obviously all of the vehicles in the game. There is a nice roster of vehicles, and like I said, the models are definitely much better than my expectations ever were for this game. In terms of the detail in them, it really did feel like a lot of care went into just checking out all of the different models. So that is Overpass 2. That is the playground section of the game, hidden away in the academy. Recommend you check that one out if you want to test out the different vehicles or different drivetrains and such. Absolutely had a blast there, and I've spent hours already, just kind of, you know, going through these areas and just testing out different vehicles. It really is a really cool feature, and it's great to see them obviously, you know, give us such a nice different area with obviously different things to do. Big shout out to the devs once again for partnering up with the channel to make some content on Overpass 2, and again, congrats to them for the full launch, and I wish them all of the best in terms of the success with this product in the future. That's going to be it from me today. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.